Usually I like to do such videos outdoors, but it is raining cats and dogs right now, and I want to give this a shout out. Want to start telling you about this fantastic phone and why I think this is the best Android smartphone. No, actually the best smartphone you can get right now. So welcome to the long-term review of the Oppo Find X8 Ultra, and let's get started. So the Oppo Find X8 Ultra in this white color with this little bit of cheapo plastic TPU case. This one looks much nicer. It's a flagship ultra device with a very thin, small camera actually. So yeah, it is looking big in diameter, but the height of it, or the depth of it, is very small in comparison to all the other flagships, just like for example the Ultra from Vivo that I'm filming right now. Yeah, this cheapo case I had on all my time when I had this phone so far, and it is protecting it fine so far. I was using this phone in China for my China trip, so I'm using it for more than a month already, and this is my long-term review about it. And gorgeous display, nice fingerprint reader, nice haptics for sure. Even though this is a cheapo case, I like the button placements and pressability of the buttons. I like the fingerprint scanner, and I also like the face unlock being super quick. And I like, most of it, the system. ColorOS is super cool, super fluid. It's one of the best things that you can find on this device. ColorOS 15, probably the best operating system, right behind HarmonyOS next in terms of fluidity of the whole system, because everything is running smooth, everything is running fluid. Even if you're watching some videos and scrolling around in YouTube, everything is running fluid. Others, Vivo, Xiaomi, they fail this. It's just the only one that is like a little bit smoother than this is HarmonyOS Next, but the system is so cool. The possibility to just quickly open up a folder that you cannot reach with one hand, so cool. Other things that are very cool, if I go into my file manager, for example, and I want to copy a photo over, I can just drag this photo here to the file dock, and no matter which app I go into, even if it's Twitter, I can go to the file dock, I can drag it in here, and it will create a new post for me. So it is like using the share menu, which is cool. I can create a new post with the image directly in it, which is super cool. This works with every app basically that supports sharing. So the whole fluidity of the system, the whole ecosystem around it, even with the headphones acting as wireless Bluetooth mics, is just simply so well done. But it's not only the software experience that is so cool, because for that matter I could use like the predecessor, the Find X7 Ultra, or even the Find X6 Pro that also got the same nice software with the same fluidity and the same feature set, which is also a big plus. So software support for this Chinese device is just top notch. I'm not sure about the global devices because I didn't really have a global device of this one here to test out. What about the hardware, however? And this is also quite interesting, because we have one of the best hardwares here built into the camera system, which is like one of the major things that I really want. The other one that is upgrading is the one that's recording here right now. It's the Vivo X200 Ultra. That's the only one that can beat this camera system right now. Xiaomi 15 Ultra, no chance. The other phones, Nubia Z70S Ultra, no chance. Galaxy and iPhones are so far away, they don't even stand a chance. Even Huawei and Honor don't have a chance against the Find X8 Ultra. It's the main camera sensor, 1-inch type sensor, that is very good. The ultra wide angle is a bit weak for sure, but the two periscope zooms are so well done and nice. They feature macro capabilities now, which are so well done. But this is not everything. It is solid for sure, but yes, the Vivo has a little bit more in terms of options. But what this has, it's a trick, is the master mode. So if you have the master mode enabled here, it's using Hasselblad color calibration, and this is just fantastic if you want DSLR-like quality on this one here. You can just quickly snap a photo here, and you will see that it's not overdoing it in terms of sharpness and colors. It is producing an image that comes very close to DSLM or DSLR like quality, which I really like in terms of colors, in terms of like adding sharpness, adding HDR and such things. So this is really, really a good move by Oppo. But not only for photography, videography is also very nice. They updated the stabilization. This is probably one of the best stabilization systems, not in terms of like being ultra stable in every situation, like if you're running and so on, but because the stabilization feels so fluid and natural. Other phones, the Vivo for example, when I do pans, left and right, fast or even sometimes slow, if you want to show a situation, it might stutter at certain positions. Or you have like this effect where you have the image like this and then it's like going whoop, whoop, like it's on a crane or something that is like has this stops where it's like hard stopping. Not with this one here. This one is like a fluid animation, just like it's floating like on a gimbal or something like this. And I never saw that on another smartphone so far, besides maybe the iPhone. But the iPhone also has a little bit more of this unnatural kind of stabilization. So yes, it's not the most stable here for sure when you're running and gunning, but the stabilization is very, very natural and pretty good. Front-facing camera, also very, very good. The camera score I can like talk about all day long. Even Pro Video Mode is now available for it, which offers log support, which offers all the abilities to change my settings to the ones that I really like to have, and HDR on all cameras modules. Fantastic. It's just one of the best overall camera systems that you can find on the market. The only one that's beating it is the Vivo because of better photo quality, better maybe zoom as well in certain scenarios. But I think the 35mm is the best for photo, and the ultra wide angle being so great, it is definitely something that is beating the Oppo here. But it's not everything about the cameras. Everything else is also important. And this is something where the Oppo is shining. It's probably not the best speakers that you can get on it because it can be a bit weak. But it's definitely beating the Vivo, for example. It's definitely beating some other smartphones there as well. Maybe not the 15 Ultra from Xiaomi, maybe not the Magic, but it's offering a good value for money. It's definitely better than the Vivo because the Vivo is mid-centering and that's it. But this one has a little bit of bass. Together with the great microphone system that we have in here, even if you don't use a wireless mic that I'm using right now, just relying on the internal mics, it is working fantastically well here. And everything else, like the haptics, the vibration motor, it's like even better than Xiaomi, and Xiaomi I regard as one of the best. But this one here, in terms of all the little vibrations that you get for doing certain actions in your system, is even better. So from one generation where I was asking for it to be a bit better, like the ColorOS 14 to ColorOS 15, they made it so much better there that I can easily say this is the best that you can currently get on the market in terms of haptics. Yes, it's even beating Google Pixel for some people who are like praising the Pixels for doing good haptics. This one is even better. It is like on par with Xiaomi, maybe a bit over what Xiaomi is producing right now. And this combined with a large battery, not the largest one, not the longest living kind of battery beast for sure, but enough. It is good enough that it's like in the top 5 or 6 smartphones that I own in terms of battery life here, together with a very, very good build of this device. And we also have fast wired and wireless charging with this one, which is also very, very cool. So this is definitely one of the best, if not the best phones around that you can currently get. And for me personally, this one is on top. But is it really? We have to check out the ranking system, and there we'll talk a little bit about other things like connectivity, GPS, and Wi-Fi and phoning. I was using 5G in China. I was using LTE 4G here, but also 5G as well, of course, in Germany. And I can tell you a lot about this device. So let's take a look at the ranking. Let's take a look at the smartphone camera ranking, and we go a bit in a detail. You can see it is #1 already. It's the best smartphone I ever tested and tried out. So let's go out, Oppo Find X8 Ultra, and let's take a look at the detail. First of all, we are talking about performance. Performance is top notch. It is very, very strong. We have a CPU that is even stronger than the old one. It's almost perfect in terms of performance, 4.9 points there. The same goes for RAM management, also 4.9 points there for the RAM management. Then we have multitasking, which is very, very solid, 4.8 here points. So yes, it is way better than it was on the Find X7 Ultra with ColorOS 14 still, because it doesn't close the apps in the background so much. But even if it closes the apps in the background, you see like one of the apps there and a specific page, for example, of this app, and you click on it, it will go to the specific page. So it will reload the app with this state, which is like also a clever technology. I think they introduced newly with Android, the newest Android 15 maybe. In any way, the multitasking is very great, and the graphics performance is the best you can get currently on the market. This is why, in total, yes, multitasking could be a little bit better. I think this is the only one that is like, yeah, hindering it for being perfect. I think CPU and RAM management also nearly perfect. This is why we get a nearly perfect performance score for sure. And it can hold this performance also quite long. Not the best with cooling and so on. It's not the best as with gaming phones. I would say like the best and creme de la creme currently would be probably Red Magic 10S Pro with an active cooling fan, but this is the next best thing, definitely amongst the best in terms of performance, even though it cannot sustain this performance for a long time. But this is an issue that all of those Snapdragon Elite devices have, most of them that don't have an active cooling capability. Battery life is 4.825 points. It's very, very solid here indeed as well. We have normal battery usage is almost perfect as well. It's not using too much power. Standby as well, it's on par with the normal usage, which is also very great. The only thing where it really falls a little bit flat is when you're using the camera. It is definitely using a lot more power then, and this gets a little bit less points there. I think I wrote down 4.5 points there only, so it's getting a bit down. It is not the worst for sure, but it's definitely not as good as the rest of when you use the system normally. So when you're using the camera, you see definitely the drainage very quickly. Charging is very fast, 100 watt. I think they can charge here. So it's like 4.825 points. What would be better here? I think there are a few devices that are a little bit better there. Huawei, for example, has a little bit better I think on camera usage, but the normal and standby usage on the Pura 70 Ultra that I tested is a little bit worse there. Otherwise it would also probably come here very close. Probably the Pura 80 Ultra will address this issue. Display is a perfect display, but it's almost the same display as on the Find X7 Ultra. The only big difference here is that we have a flat screen instead of a curved one. And the Find X7 Ultra claims to have higher peak brightness. Yes, for sure, resolution is the same, 120 Hz as well, OLED display. It claims to have less brightness, and yes, you can surely see it even if you compare it with the Find X7 Ultra or even the Vivo X100 or X200 Ultra, that the brightness of the display of the Find X7 Ultra at peak brightness levels is a bit lower. But, and there's the big but, it can keep this brightness, even the higher brightness, way longer than other phones. And this is something that is really, really great here in this addition to this display. Otherwise it gets the same score as the Find X7 Ultra, but keep that in mind that the brightness is gaining there some points, because it is like a little bit holding the brightness a bit longer, but otherwise it gets the same points. Almost perfect is the build quality. Just like on the Find X7 Ultra, I was praising the build quality being so great, and it felt so nice in the hand. And this very curved kind of edge and this leather bag, fake leather bag, together with this two-tone like the other bright kind of bag. Very nice indeed. Here we have a solid normal glass bag, but it has a nice texture, which is like not glossy, but not completely matte. It looks completely matte, but it doesn't feel completely matte, which is, I think, very nice. So it's not like falling off your phone, off your hands, the phone, which is, I think, very good. Together with the very flat kind of design, it is looking very nice. The build quality is nice. The buttons, the clickiness of the buttons, everything very, very nice. So the build quality almost perfect here. So we have the closest that you can get to perfect on the Find X8 Ultra. I like the devices. Software experience. I was praising it so highly, and it's also almost perfect. It gets a very high score of 4.9 here. UI is a 5 out of 5 points for sure. There's nothing better I saw from the UI and user experience. Yes, you can say in terms of fluidity that HarmonyOS Next, HarmonyOS 5 might have a little bit the upper hand, and it feels a bit more fluffy in this sense. You can still feel that it's a bit of Android, but it's the most kind of smartphone feeling based upon Android that doesn't feel like Android, like this clunkiness that you have, the stutters that you sometimes have with certain applications. This is like the best that I can have based upon Android. This is why I get it 5 points for the UI UX. Updates is 5 out of 5 because we get regular updates, we get lots of updates, we get feature updates, we get security updates, we get tons of updates. Bloatware is an issue still. They managed to keep it a bit down in comparison to the Find X7 Ultra that was like bloatware en masse. But this one is like on par now with Huawei, so it gets 4.7 points. It's not good at all. I don't like the bloatware, and this is what's keeping it mostly from being the perfect experience here. It's the bloatware. The customizations is getting the same as with the Find X7 Ultra. That, keep in mind, I tested with ColorOS 14 still, is 4.9. Yes, they optimized a little bit there, but the customization did not change there. I would like to see a bit more customizations like we have with Vivo, for example, there. But otherwise, it is the closest, almost the closest that you can get to a perfect software experience. Camera, you saw already, like the camera ranking, it's number 2 currently, 4.673 points, very great device. Now let's come to connectivity. It gets the same points, 4.9 as the predecessor. Wi-Fi speeds are almost on par, the same, 4.8 points here, which is very cool. GPS is perfect. It is one of the best GPSs that I find, but all of the newer phones have very great GPS there. There's just only occasions when I was testing it against the Vivo X200 Ultra that the Find X8 Ultra, just like when you come out of a tunnel or something, grabs the signal a bit quicker and gets you a bit quicker and anticipates, like when you're doing navigation, your position a little bit better. But this might be software tricks and might not be GPS. Still, GPS gets 5 points here. Cellular gets 4.8 points, is also nearly perfect there. And Bluetooth, of course, Bluetooth has 5.5 points, 5 out of 5 points. So 4.9 in general, it's also the closest that you can get to perfect. It's like no issues at all there with calling and so on. It's like, yeah, no issues at all. Now we come to storage. Storage is always like a little bit of hard because we don't have expandability, and one of the ratings that I have there is expandability, so I get 0 points for expandability. I think the size is 4 out of 5. I don't have the largest size here currently, but you can get larger sizes if you want to. But I'm evaluating and giving you my estimate. It's the same as with the predecessor. So we have like a great device here. We have 512 gigabytes I have now as storage instead of 256 that I have with the predecessor. But the system occupies roughly the same, a little bit more, like in percentage-wise, than on the predecessor there. So yes, size is great. Speed is great there as well. So yes, in the end, we get 4.09 points. I think the only one that can win here with in terms of expandability would be the Xperia devices or some older, no, not older, maybe some devices that have like still micro SD card slots. Audio and haptics. I really like the haptic vibration motor. It gets 5 out of 5 points immediately. The recording quality has been improved, so 4.5 out of 5 points instead of only 4 when it comes to recording with the internal mics. The headphones output via USB-C and the speaker output is nearly identical to what we have for Find X7 Ultra. They did not improve upon there so much, I think. The only improvements that you can see are coming from the Snapdragon 8 Elite, so we get 4.375 points. I think the speaker can improve a little bit there, and also the headphone output a little bit more. And security features very, very close also to being perfect there. Fingerprint reader is now 5 out of 5 points. Before it was 4 out of 5 points because it was an optical. Now it's like a ultrasonic fingerprint scanner. Facial recognition is not 3D, so only 4 out of 5 points. Encryption is there. There's an encryption chip inside there, 5 out of 5 points. And security patches are coming on time. Not almost every month you get like an update also featuring security updates. So this is 5 out of 5 points, which brings us to 4.75 points. So where does it lead us? Number one, as I showed you, where are the difference between number one and number two? Number two is Magic 6 Pro here. You can see that the performance is a little bit stronger on the Find X8 Ultra than on the Magic 6 Pro. We can see the battery life is identical, which is quite fantastic there because I already praised the Magic 6 Pro for its battery life. The display on the Magic 6 Pro is on another league still in terms of brightness. It's just like beating the Find X8 Ultra, and it can also sustain this brightening thanks to its dual OLED technology there. Build quality, however, is a bit weaker on the Magic, and the software experience is way better on the Find X8 Ultra. You can see it's like 4.9, it's like beating all of them here. Software is really, maybe I have to re-elevate the Find X7 Ultra because I think it got the same kind of software, so I can get it to 4.9 as well, and then probably this will also climb up the ladders here. Camera is a bit weaker on the Magic, and connectivity is slightly weaker on the Magic in comparison to the Find X8 Ultra. Audio and haptics, this is like a bit of a downer. Why only 4.2? It is way better, the Magic 6 Pro, when it comes to speaker quality. It's a 5 out of 5 there. But the haptics is like so weak that it's getting under the Oppo Find X8 Ultra. So the Oppo Find X8 Ultra has weaker speakers than the Magic, but the haptics is way better. So much so that it gets 0.175 points more than the Magic 6 Pro. Security features, the Magic 6 Pro features 3D face scan, but only has an optical fingerprint scanner. This is why 4.5. This is the big difference there between those two. Yes, so the Find X8 Ultra is currently my number one in terms of smartphones that I tested so far. Yes, I teased it already. I'm also testing the Vivo X200 Ultra. I can already give you a sneak peek in terms of performance. Probably will get the same. Battery life might be even a little bit longer here, but roughly the same. Display is, as on paper it should be brighter, it should be better. It's probably getting the same points here. Build quality will be, I think, a bit weaker here. Maybe the same. Software experience will be weaker because we have some stutters, we have some issues, we have some incompatibilities, we have more customizability for sure, but it's not nearly perfect. So the software experience will be worse. Camera will be better. Connectivity will be probably on par here, maybe slightly worse because the GPS is slightly worse, but I have to recheck if the numbers play out. Storage will be the same. Audio and haptics will be a bit weaker because the haptics mode is so weak on the Vivo X200 Ultra, and it's like also a very important aspect. But the speaker is the major downgrade also over the X100 Ultra. This is why this one here will get definitely less points. And security and features definitely 4.75, probably even higher. So my guess is that the Vivo X200 Ultra will be roughly in between those two here. Probably, you can see if I use the mouse, it can get bigger, and bigger. A new feature of my desktop. Anyway, this is something that I can definitely tell you right now out of the bat, but I will test the Vivo X200 Ultra to the end because I bought it in China, so it's not 1 month usage yet. I have to wait a few weeks until I can tell you a bit more about this. If you're interested in this, subscribe to the channel, you can donate, so I'm able to buy new phones and test them out for you. And that's it. Until the next time. Bye.